Wysteria, energy, twister.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the world of fairies, the Fae. We're now on J, Jack in Irons, a Yorkshire giant who appears to travellers at night. The Jack in Irons gets his name from his appearance because he's wrapped in iron chains, apparently. Jimmy Squarefoot, a Manx fairy who can appear as either a giant boar or a man with a pig's head and tusks. Originally, Jimmy Squarefoot, in his pig form, was the steed of an unnamed giant, but at some point the giant and his wife left the Isle of Man, and Jimmy remained behind. Briggs describes him as having both the form of a black pig and a human-like man and lurking in the area of Glen Rushen. That was 1976. Gill felt Jimmy had some connection to water, although what exactly he could not clarify, and suggested his home might be a stone circle near Awin Reach. Although known sometimes to leap out and frighten travellers, to throw stones at his own wife, Jimmy Squarefoot was generally a benign creature. Joint Eater, an obscure fairy mentioned by Reverend Robert Kirk in his seminal work, The Secret Commonwealth, where it is described as an invisible elf that can exist within a person and consumes the essence or value of any food the person eats. Kirk calls it an elf, a joint eater, and a just halfer, and says that it is the attendant of something called a great eater, describing it thusly: feeding on the pith or quintessence of what the man eats, and that therefore he continues lean like a hawk or heron, notwithstanding his devouring appetite. 1890. Briggs considers the Alpluatra and the joint eater to be different names for the same beings, and suggests the cure used for the Alpluatra would apply as well for the joint eater, that is, feeding the afflicted person salt beef and then having them wait with open mouth near water until the creature is lured out. I know that sounds really, really strange and bizarre, but it's just how it is. Now we move straight on to K, and we are on Kelpies. One type of water horse found in Scotland and Ireland is the Kelpie, often described in Scottish older sources as a water demon. The Kelpie is a shape-shifting fairy who can assume the form of a horse or of a dark-haired person, usually, but not always a man. As a horse, he is appealing and fine-looking, with a coat that is either very dark or white. As a person, he would seem human, except that his hair remains damp and may have water weeds in it if one looks closely. Kelpies are most associated with running water, such as rivers, and with lakes. In many stories, the Kelpie lurks near their watery home in the form of a horse, waiting for a traveller to pass by, and then tries to trick the human into riding on the Kelpie's back. Once mounted, the person finds they are unable to let go of the magical being and are carried into the water where the Kelpie drowns and then eats them. As 18th century poet Robert Burns puts it, "Then water Kelpies haunt the ford by your direction, and nighted travellers are allured to their destruction." Kelpies are known in their human form to take human lovers, sometimes to produce children with them. These human lovers may or may not be willing, and the lore surrounding them is complex and sometimes dark. Not all accounts fall along these lines, however, and there is at least one where the Kelpie seems to genuinely love the girl and chooses to give up his otherworldly life for her. In that story, the girl realizes his true nature, traps him with a silver bridle, forcing him to work in his horse form on her father's farm for a year before he's given the chance to give up his fairy nature and marry her. So it's still kind of dark, really, even though it ends in true love, still gets forced into it. That's it for this episode, guys. When we come back, we will continue with the Ks. The reason I put the Kelpie in there is because, obviously, it made it longer, otherwise it would be a very short episode, something else I want to mention about these fae. If you watch on a lot of haunted videos where people have these hauntings that are quite extreme, you will see what appears to be exactly what I've just described, pretending to be in human form. They always appear to be spirits with dark hair covering their face. Their eyes shine, but are very small. The face does not quite look right. Their hair seems to be, it's very dark and it always seems wet. And they generally wear a white sort of gown that covers the whole of the body. And they make the fae noises that they are known to make, and they are always near bathrooms, and they're always turning like showers on or taps on. You go look at hauntings like that, and you look at the apparition or the figure that they catch, and that, to me, is what a Kelpie would be in human form. Someone's been to a lake, picked it up, and it's followed them home, and it's sort of adamant that it's taking it with them, I guess. But that's just my theory on that, because you would understand if you saw these hauntings and the way these things look. They really do look like the fae, and they actually look like a Kelpie in human form, so that's my theory on that, I guess. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and many blessings.
Wysteria. Energy. Twister.